All right, we got 6:02. We'll go ahead and call our January 18th board meeting to order. I need approval of the agenda, please.
So moved. Second.
All right, and we'll have the invocation and pledge. Mr. Tim Ingram.
This part, Father, thank you so much for this day of life, Father, for the many blessings you poured out on us, on our families, on our community, on our country. Father, we thank you so much for Jesus and for his dying on the cross. Father, I pray that you pour out your wisdom and guidance on all these who come to serve, Father. Show them the way, Father. Show us the right way to make the best decisions for our community. Father, we thank you for having our chairman back tonight. Continue to be with him and his family as they look after him, Father. Father, just bless this time we have together. We ask in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Tim.
Got to get somebody tall.
Sam with 2 minutes back there, but no.
All right, we don't have any board appointments yet, right? We'll have, need a motion for the consent agenda, work session January the 4th, and
Second.
the first Tuesday meeting, January 4th.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. We don't have any visitors. We got Mr. Scoville.
Yep.
All right, Mr. Scoville, you want to come up and?
First.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm really coming tonight as a private citizen, but I guess you can say it's Blight Committee too, but more or less private. And my question to all of you, or if not, maybe Ms. Brody, I don't really know who to direct the question is, but I would like some answers, and so would some people that have filed some complaints. April of this year, or last year, was a complaint filed about junk vehicles on Morris Stevens Road and Highway 18. 2 weeks ago, those vehicles are still there. That's been 9 months. 9 months and nothing's happened. June of last year, Coachman Motorhome on Garrison Road. And I'm going to add to that one, 50 yards away from that Coachman Motorhome are 3 stop signs at the three-way stop there. And every one of those stop signs has got a sign at the bottom of it saying, "We pay cash for junk vehicles." And 50 yards to that, from that sign, is that Coachman Motorhome, which has been there for years. Nothing's been done with that. A home on Garrison Road, an abandoned school, that's on Garrison Road, a school bus on Gary Road. The school bus has been there for God knows for eons. Nothing's been done about it. There's also 2 mobile homes there that you can literally see from one side to the other. You can see through them and up through the roof. There's nothing, they're unlivable. They're still there.
Were those in June as well?
Yes. Boat, Stonewall Drive, Chris, you and Miss Brody went out there and saw that thing several years ago. That's been about 3 years ago. That boat is still in the front yard, does not even have a motor on it, and a while back it had a tree growing up through it, full of junk. Nothing, it's still sitting there. And last but not least, 3734 Confederate Drive, that car has been there for 10 to 12 years. It's been covered up with tarpaulins. Now there's a new tarp on it. I don't know if that was Tiffany's action lately or whatever, but according to these current codes, inoperative for more than 12 successive months, it needs to go. And that's what we want, is some answers as to what's happening. Why these things are not being addressed and taken care of. 9 months? That's ridiculous. So is any one of y'all in particular got the answer to that?
I don't know that we'd have the answer tonight without having to, we can ask Tiffany or look through our files, or if they're, I don't know if they're in court. I don't know if they're.
I can address every single one of those right now. Won't take me just a second.
All right. Then we might have the answer tonight.
Yeah.
Tiffany will answer.
What was the first one, sir?
Morris Stevens Road.
Morris Stevens Road.
That was in court right now.
2 weeks ago, those cars were still sitting there
It is in court.
in court.
Yes, sir.
been taking 9 months?
There's different extenuating circumstances per case, but this one is in court being held with the prosecutor.
All right, what about Morris, the coach from Motorhome, June?
That is in court as well with the prosecutor.
So all of them are in court.
If you want to ask me one by one, I'll be glad to answer for you.
Well, I'm just asking for an answer. I mean,
About school bus on Gary Road.
That is actually a shell. There is no motor. There is no car parts to it. That is a storage facility that has power run to it, so it does not classify up under junk vehicle. I do not regulate what someone stores something in. The motor's been removed, all car parts have been removed, and it's been like that for many years. But I did look into it.
No axles, it's just sitting on blocks?
Yes, sir. Actually, it's got stuff around.
Underpinning around it.
Yes, sir.
rusty, old school bus.
I do not dictate a storage building, sir.
What about the trailers there
Which where at?
on Gary Road?
They are on the demolition list.
There's 2 mobile homes out
They,
there.
they're be
Been
working
there
to start
forever.
that. That will be on the upcoming demolition list.
The boat on Stonewall,
That one is in court as well.
that's all we ever
I
hear
have
is in
several
court.
no-shows that are probably about to have a warrant issue, but I can't speak any further on that.
And I know we talked about this with the app that we started last year. Is there anywhere we're online where we're currently reporting the status of these? Because this might help.
Some of the older ones are not online, but anything once we went online with that system, they are online, yes, sir.
Okay, because if we can start at least showing that, I think that'll help all citizens feel more comfortable that, some action is being taken.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Anything that's been submitted, once we've gone online, you can check it to see whether it's open or closed or whatever.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
The last one is Jane Hall's car on Confederate Drive, been there for 12 years.
That one was out of view and covered up with the tarpaulin. The ordinance has not been changed, so therefore I cannot force her to do anything.
But where was that, when did that ordinance, whoever allowed that ordinance to come in and put the tarpaulins over it?
That was out of public view, the chairman and
No,
the county.
no, it's not, you can see it from the road.
All right.
I
let's-
see it every
look,
day.
We're not gonna
Address
we're not
us.
gonna argue
I
with
see
our
it every day.
county employees.
Yeah, address us with it if, so the new ordinance has not been put into
Right.
place yet. So all this that we're talking about, the new ordinance, this and that has not been voted on, so.
But the current, this is what Ms. Birdie gave us, that says current code inoperative for more than 12 successive months. So that's my question. I realize we haven't gone, because the
Right.
proposed is right there below it. And we haven't sat down and gone over that yet. But my question is, we're not going by this
So,
this
Last
current
inspection.
codes?
The last inspection on that one, at the time, she was in compliance. I'd already spoken with the county attorney, and that complaint was closed. If there is something different, you need to let me know. But as far as dictating whether they can put a tarp on it or not, that has not been changed. I cannot go against what we currently have.
about putting a tarp over it.
But isn't,
That's the current code, which Tiffany is saying, that's the current code, so they're not
But-
violating.
Where was that in writing? Where was that?
It's
Where
in
was?
our code.
What,
It's
no,
obscured from public view, which, that obscures it from public view.
is
it's
in
still
our-
a junk automobile. Been there for 12 years.
Sir, under our current code, we're not going and pulling people's tarps off to see what's under them. We're trying to implement new ordinances, which we have, but we've not started the readings yet to see if there's any changes based upon the software that this board's also trying to get to address all of the Blight Committee's concerns. I mean, we just had a work session last meeting for an hour and a half about new software. They're actively working to try
Right,
to
I
make
understand it. I was
changes to
here.
address these
I
concerns.
understand it. I was here. Well, I mean, would you, 9 months, don't you think that's a little bit long?
I don't know the status of each one of those in court, but I also know that we're going through a pandemic and most of our courts were shut down and not having these hearings. Also, most no-shows during this time have been sort of excused because of the pandemic. And so that you really can't enforce it if a judge is saying, I'm going to send them out a new court date notice because of COVID. We're not the judge. We're not the jury. So depending on how the judge is handling his court, that's not long for the current state of the court system. No, sir.
Well, we were told that the courts had been going right on.
Well, they have not.
But anything.
They've not. But Tiffany just said that these are with the court, and clearly they've come up on a court date, and at least one or possibly more of these people have been no-shows. But a lot of those bench warrants have not been issued on initial no-shows on citations because of COVID. You can certainly call the court tomorrow if you know who these citations were issued to and say, when's the next court date? That's public information.
All right. And one other thing, this morning when I was picking up trash on Joycliff, and I know we've smoked this gun before, I found an insurance card from an employee from Tractor Supply, had United Healthcare, and at the bottom, it's got the person's name is from Warner Robins. Vicky Wilderback and I were involved in the trash pickup 2 Saturdays ago on Grizzleville Road. We found a trash bag, had a lady's from Napier Avenue. I found a mail on Houston Avenue, on Joycliff from Houston Avenue. And I know y'all said before that it can be blown from trucks, but it's kind of hard for me to understand how a mail from Houston Avenue, Warner Robins, and Napier Avenue gets in Jones County. So my question is there any way we can come up with some kind of enforcement to investigate these when we find this? Every time I go out picking up trash, I find somebody's mail. Never fails.
We have the sheriff's department. You could have called the sheriff's department.
Well, I've done that, but I hate to bother them every time you got to find trash, because it's every time you go out there and pick it up.
I mean, if you have proof, there's somebody's mail sitting there.
Well, I've got it at home right now. I meant to bring it tonight to show y'all, but I'm going to bring it and show it to Jason Thursday morning. We're going to meet with him, and I'm going to let him see it. But it's an insurance card, United Healthcare insurance card with the guy's name from Warner Robins as a person. I don't know if it's a male or female.
But also understand there's divisions of power. This board and Jason don't control what the sheriff's department, who they cite, and
Right.
and
Well, I'm
who
just
they
trying to come up with
investigate.
some kind of an idea, a plan that we could make these people accountable when their trash shows up in Jones County, is my question.
Well, if you just put it in your truck and take it home, there's no way to make that person accountable. But if you contact law enforcement, have them come out and see that it's been discarded, has a name and an address, then they can pursue issuing a citation. But, putting it in your
Okay.
truck, taking it home, and bringing it to the
Well,
county
okay,
administrator's not going to accomplish
I understand
anything.
that, but I mean, it's just, you hate to bother the sheriff's department every time you can find, but, it is what it is. That's the way it is.
Well-
Every time I go out picking up trash, I find somebody's mail.
And I understand that's frustrating, but on the other hand, and don't take this the wrong way, but you quick to come tell the board every time you find trash with somebody's name on it. And I say that because they can't do anything about it. The board before you can't issue a citation.
I understand that, and I know how,
So to get to the bottom, because I don't want you to continue to be frustrated, I want you to contact the people that can issue citations, which Tiffany would be some of those things, and then the sheriff's office is going to be the department that issues some of those as well. Okay, I'm
right.
trying to
I
help you
understand.
relieve the frustration.
well, like my point is, like I say, I think there ought to be some way to make these people held accountable when they're trash, and Macon, Georgia ends up on Joycliff Road.
Right, I agree.
All right.
No doubt. No doubt. Thank you, George. So moving on under new business, purchase and approval levels. So I guess I'll be first on the agenda. And I sent something to Jason earlier today. So one of the things that we're running into is we've got different purchasing levels from the department head level up to the county administrator level than our bid thresholds. And I think anything over 10,000 is our bid threshold now. With the price of goods and services going up the way they are right now, it's really restricting some of our department heads and some of our departments in trying to make what I would consider daily routine maintenance. A prime example is having parts for a pump that we may work on in the water department. Just the parts and materials would be over $10,000. So even if we're doing that job in-house, we're winding up having to bid materials even though we're not bidding as a project. So I would I think we need to look at how we would increase those levels, and my opinion would be not to increase it at the department level. I think we still get 2 to 3 quotes depending on the level of it. What we need to increase that $10,000 limit to where we go to bid to a higher level. Everything as it is now, I think is it 1,000 or 5,000, under 5,000 the department head discretion?
I think that's right. yeah.
And then between 5,000 and whatever we increase the bid limit to would have to be approved by Jason. And all that subject to not, to being within their budget, departmental budget anyway.
Are we seeing, can we question? Are we seeing that it's hard, in some cases, it's hard to get over 2 quotes for items also?
I mean, we have run into that before.
I mean,
Yeah.
so on the, when you've got 5 to 999, I mean, $9,999.99, but you gotta have 3 quotes for it. I know it's hard to try to get 3 quotes from somebody for that price. You know, it's,
But the reason why you do that is just to make sure that someone does some due diligence. You
Right.
don't just randomly give somebody, $9,000 without at least vetting it through at least a couple of the vendors.
right.
And I think if they're getting 2 quotes and they can't get a third one,
kinda
that's one
notate
thing,
that.
but at least you attempt to get 3 quotes, legitimately get 3 quotes on it in lieu of bidding it.
So you want to do that across the board? Because to me, the water department becomes the exception, right? Because of the severity of the impact of something going down. And I don't know how other entities manage enterprise organizations. But I know for the water department, I have no problem, saying 30,000 could be their limit, right?
Yeah.
Public Works, I don't really see that. I don't see that in the finance department. I don't see that pretty much anywhere else short of the water department.
Yeah, I think though our procurement policy needs to be standardized. If we're gonna go to 20,000, 30,000, whatever it is, probably needs to be across the board.
Don't pick and choose.
Because it has to be changed in our, in our policy. There probably could be some road work that, because all we have is in-house and either LMIG or under contract. And, yeah, I could see where some patch jobs, material for a patch job, would go over 10,000 pretty quick right now. I just paved 25 parking spaces, real close to yours. That was $30,000. It's amazing.
But it's, and the only reason I say that, because again, the majority of the time we deal with that with water, right? I haven't really seen that come up. And I would treat water differently because it is an enterprise fund. It's an entity that does something different in revenue generating than any other entity here. The sheriff, but definitely water. But I understand the global policy, but again, I would treat that differently just because it's a business. That's the way I look at the water department. It's a business, so I would treat it differently.
Well, I know we've had a couple of instances where paving or patching projects would go over 10,000 that wouldn't have 2 years ago. They would have been in the $6,000-7,000 range. And what I'm seeing is some of them are 11,000, 11,200, 11,700. It's just over our threshold, and now you're talking 30 days to bid, 30 days to get the contractor get a contract signed, and then schedule them. You're 3 to 4 months out fixing the dangerous situation or the pothole that's, and we get back in the situation of people saying, man, I called 3 months ago, and nobody's done anything. Because we're handcuffed by our own policies sometimes. I think that the safeguards are still in place, meaning that they have to be approved at the administrative level. So I don't think anybody can just go out and do a $29.99 job without us knowing it. And it may be that Jason brings us a report, anything over 10,000 in that 10 to 25 or 10 to 30 or whatever reports out at our board meetings.
And so then anything that's 25, 30,000 over would have to be a formal bid
Competitive
process.
bid process, yeah.
So we'd still be getting the quotes and everything else, the same as that limit of 5,000 would be 5,000 to 25,000. Still having to get 3 quotes, and it still comes before us and Jason.
Well, it comes to Jason,
Okay.
up to the whatever we raise the limit to, it comes to Jason. Same, the only time it comes to us if it goes to a bid, which is what we do now. Unless it's not in their budget where they have to move money, and that's obviously comes to us.
Water department, I have no qualms about it. The other departments, I'm not so comfortable at this point. But that's why we vote.
Do we still have we talked about it at some point in time, hiring in a new position?
A purchasing position, we're advertising for that now.
So that would all fall kind of up under that person's, once that job is here.
That would be the level between the department head and Jason. Basically oversee all department heads' purchasing process.
What number you want to go to?
Jason, I know local governments around us have just gone to 30,000. School districts at 30,000. I think Macon Bibb's either at 25 or 30. And I know they got more of them, but it's still, the prices of the product's still the same. I would recommend 25 or 30 at least. But I would need a motion if there's no other discussion, because I can't make a motion, right, Chairman?
You can. I'm the chairman.
Oh, I'm
Go
just
for it.
acting chairman. All
I just gotta
right.
be quiet and act like I know what I'm saying.
I hear you.
Which new lady's been hard. I'm telling you. It's coming
I
now.
want a whole meeting not being able to make motions. So
That's it,
close.
you're through. I got mine.
So close. Okay. You have any recommendation or discussion, Jason?
I would say just as a procedural kind of thing, since this is written into our ordinance, it'd take an amendment to the ordinance, which would take 2 readings, I think.
Right.
actually. And so if y'all are interested in making a change, maybe y'all could, make a motion to begin the amendment process to, increase it to whatever number, if y'all are so inclined. Just to mention that.
Do you have a recommendation on the level as far as, I have some hesitancy on raising it because we could, just for various reasons. 2025 is where I'm looking.
Yeah, I think 25 would be a big help, and I'd say this too. I think most times, if we're going to spend that type of money on something other than a repair of a water pump or something along those lines, it's going to be vetted during the budget process too. And so, I think you still have the opportunity for input and that kind of thing. It's not where we have sort of carte blanche to do whatever we want with, big sums of money. I think, there'll still be opportunity through that budget process to kind of provide input and that kind of thing,
All right.
if that helps.
I'll make a motion that we begin the amendment process for the ordinance to increase the bid threshold from 10,000 to 25,000, with all other portions of it remaining the same.
So then I'll clarify in a second.
Do I have a second?
I'll second for discussion purposes.
So then the 5,000 to 9,999, would that be 5,000 to $24,999?
Right.
So that would be the
change.
The first 2 levels we're not changing.
Right, so $1,000 at the department head level, 5,000 or do we even need the 5,000? I mean, that's something we need to look at. Do we need the 5,000? Because that's just the difference in 2 quotes and 3 quotes. Is that how it reads, Jason?
Well, 0 to, I'm not gonna do the 99. 0 to 1,000 is 1 quote department head. 1,000 to 5,000 is department head 2 quotes. What I think you're
Okay.
telling me is now 5,000
To
to
25.
25,000 would be department head, county administrator, 3 quotes.
Right,
And then 25,000 and above would be formal bid,
right.
RFP.
That was my exact motion.
Okay.
What do you think?
Second.
We've had a
We got a
second.
second.
Already got it. Commissioner Vaughn, we already have a second.
Thank you there.
Just clarifying that as the acting chairman.
I can move every
Oh.
now.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Opposed.
3-1. All right, next on the agenda, fleet electrification and infrastructure. Commissioner Martin?
Just real quickly, I think Sam and I may be the only two that are served on Clean Air Coalition, right? So the Clean Air Coalition in Middle Georgia does a good job of helping counties provide electric vehicle charging stations. Reach out to Greg Boyke after our last meeting just to find out if that process was still going on. And I did ask the question, is there an unlimited access to those funds for counties to install more charging stations? And he's going to research that. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because, Sheriff brought up a good point, or Travis did, about not having infrastructure. And years ago, there was a plan to put some charging stations, I think, at the rec center, the courthouse, and a few other places, and we just dropped one at the EMC. And so, as we move forward, even through this crisis of purchasing vehicles, and how there can be a delay, and how now the sheriff even has to move from a Charger to what is that other thing? To the SUV. I don't know when the chip shortage will change, but I know that we have Ford and GM. Unfortunately, Dodge is not there yet with electric vehicles, but I'm sure they're coming. But you can actually buy an electric truck cheaper than you can a gas one. For those of us that have done any research on them, right now I think a F-150 is like $39,000 for a base model with towing capacity up to about, I think, $9,000, and about $45,000 for one to $11,000 to $14,000. I say all that to say, at some point, we have to look at our fuel costs, maintenance costs, and the actual cost of ownership and buying these vehicles. And that gives us an opportunity to start doing some migration. I know Bibb County has been doing it for years, and some other counties have done it. And it's interesting how people are implementing it. And all I want us to do is look at the process and start, as we are replacing vehicles, look at using electric vehicles. That's an option. So
I would agree, because there's definitely a place for them, and I think if we start looking at, without calling departments out, but you just about have to. I mean, you talk about tax assessors, recreation, places that don't go either long distances or have the pulling or towing capacity that's needed. Obviously, our F-250s and 350 that's hauling, mowers and stuff is probably not the best for an electric vehicle, but those and sheriff's fleet's going to be tough because of the drain on the batteries. We've looked at those, but vehicles that travel within the county and don't travel 300 or 400 miles a day are good opportunities to look at. And yes, the grant application would be funded for 50% of the cost of the EV charger, and if we're on if we put it where Georgia Power is, Georgia Power will pay for the labor to install it. So it's, looking at $2,000 to $4,000 out of pocket for a $12,000-15,000 EV charger. So something to look into, no doubt.
And
What's
I'll
that?
say this too, I got a phone call today telling me that some buses that I was looking for a quote on, they will not be building any gas buses for us within the next year and a half because the components to those gas engines, they can't get them.
Yep.
So that puts us a year and a half behind on any new buses, and then it's the catch-up of everybody else that, so, that's definitely something that because we know that the sheriff's department can't get the cars they need right now. So, it's only gonna get worse, I think.
And again, all I want to do is start the conversation, have us start looking at it. Not wanting to put too much on Jason, but, look at where we are with our department heads, what vehicles may need to be replaced based on our schedule, and, explore what that cost looks like, and then leveraging the Clean Air Coalition, Georgia Power, and whoever else that may want to participate to start building out the infrastructure. And for our businesses, it's a no-brainer to drop charging stations where people are going to park and eat and shop, because then we become destinations. Almost every electric vehicle that they roll out now comes with that EV charging station. Yep, location. You tap on it, it populates. And as people are driving around, it's nice to know that you can drive through Jones County and stop, shop, and charge. So,
All right. Number 3, ISO rating in progress. Commissioner Martin again.
yes, sir. Asked Don to kind of give us a quick heads up of where we are with our ISO rating and what we need to do to move to the next level. The reason why this is important, as we improve our ISO ratings, ladies and gentlemen, our homeowners insurance goes down. And I think for those of us who maybe had Allstate and we got that 25% bump a couple years back, anything we can do to help people save, why not? And obviously making our fire department better for the county is tantamount to us being more safe here. So,
With you, sir.
thank you.
Very quick background, thank you, I appreciate that. In 2009, I was appointed in July. When I took office, our rating was ISO rating was 8/10 at that time. So there was a lot of work that we had to do. We had to find out how much water we had, what kind of water we had, the whole 9 yards. So in 2011, I asked for a formal ISO, an address to come in and take a look at our system. Mr. Puckett, rest his soul, was one of the inspectors that came by to see us. He was really a tough guy, but he was honest and straight up and was to form. We did the application, went through the testing, and in 2012 we received a 7/10. We still needed more work to do. There were several pings that we had gotten ranging from the dispatch center to personnel to training. Just about everything that we had to do in the community, we had to do some work on. So, work in progress. In 2019, we were reevaluated. We scored a 5/5. Why? That's the best to date. This last budget, we've added a new CAD system. So we're in progress working for emergency dispatching. Reserve apparatus. We've never been blessed with apparatus that we could have if one of our trucks was to break down. Well, in June, when we received the 3 that we're going to be getting, we should have a couple trucks that we can use as spares, because you get extra points for spares. You got to have 1 spare per 8 trucks. So we should have a couple spare there, so we'll get some points there. to make a 4 this next time, and when I say I don't like to make promises, but I don't think we're going to have a problem at all to hit a 4. All we need is about 6.5 points. More progress. Training. We didn't do so good on the training part. When it came to documentation on training, with the new budget that just went out, we put in the new training platform, which is excellent, and we are way ahead of the ball game right now. And I'm actually proud of that. Water system, that's an ongoing thing. It's not only me. I think it's the board's in on it. Everybody's got their hands in the water. We need more water. Fire prevention, this board gave us this year the most money that we've ever had in fire prevention. And we've been getting $200, $300, $400 a year for fire prevention, for getting some products and visual aids and stuff like that. But we got the most this year, and that was grateful. Another red area, I don't know what the red area was there for, was a fire investigator. I'm a certified fire investigator. Just to show how hard it is the amount of points that you can get for a fire investigator is 20, and they rated me at 18.8. I was top in my class, and I continue to be top in my class. With what we've got going for this next year, and the things that this board is sending us, and I'm talking about my department and other departments too, because we're all in it together, we will reach that mark of 4, without a doubt. Keeping it there, sustaining it, it shouldn't be a problem at all, because it should be a daily thing. These new things that I listed tonight, just with this one budget, should sustain us the next 10 years easily. I'll be dead and gone or off somewhere, but it shouldn't be a problem for our folks that come in. So,
You did cut it short at 10 years, right? We're going to interrupt. You're going to be around longer.
well, I'll be 74 years old, so.
4 and reasonable assurance. Sir.
Yeah, well, public services has taken its toll. I love public service, but it can get you sometimes. So, any more questions that I need to ask or tell you? I got the answer.
I got a quick one.
Yes, sir.
When is the next ISO evaluation, and when will we schedule it? Is it right after we implement this? Any timeline?
Well, we've already implemented everything that I've mentioned here. They've been all right in the past years. You didn't have the luxury of calling and saying, "Hey, can we have a evaluation?" It was whenever they got to you. And the last 2 times that I've called, I've actually gotten a evaluation within 6 months. So that was pretty good. I would go probably another 2 years, but I wouldn't mind if they came tomorrow.
Right. I want, when they come out, I want to hit 4.
Won't you go with us?
Let me know when.
Because we'll be opening pipes. We'll be doing it all.
Let me know when.
Looking at everything that we've got. We don't leave anything. They unturn everything.
All right. And then lastly for me,
Yes, sir.
since 4 is right around the corner, can you get us something similar for this for us to get to a 3? Because is the point system the same? Is it 70 to?
Right. It's 3's going to be a tough one. It's a tough one. I think it can be done. Nothing comes without money.
Right. Major.
I just,
You don't have to do it tonight, Don.
I
'cause-
just,
But I don't think with our water structure, the way it is, that we can get to a 3 anytime soon.
well,
you look at the
but there's other little things that we can do that may get us there too. We can, if we go and purchase a few pumper tankers, and I'm not saying that we can't do that tonight. We may hit something in the spring, or who knows. If we can show them that we can do continuous water flow for so many hours, we can hit more scores. With the equipment we've got now, I'm talking about our knockers now. It's a whole different animal. They have served us well through the years, but it's time to get away from them right now.
So if you could, I know you're gonna hang around a little bit longer, but just craft a plan to get to 3 and show us how that looks. And the reason why I'm saying that is because the next budget cycle is coming up, right? And we're always going to be a lag behind.
Yes, sir.
So let us kind of be prepared for that.
I would love to get a 3. And I know the city would love to have a 3 also. Do they have a 3 yet?
No, it's a 4.
Okay.
Solid 4.
It's a tough one. But I think they got the right man in there to get a 3. I really do.
Okay.
And I'm pushing him as hard as he's pushing me, so we push each other because we all want to be better.
Awesome.
I do.
I believe you. I'm good.
Because he's only got 10 years left. So.
That's right. You gotta get on it. Get it all done in the next.
I hope my wife ain't listening.
She's already writing the check.
She's increasing
Increasing
insurance.
that life insurance.
That's right.
10 years.
Pump up life insurance in 8 years and 8 months.
She's already pumped it up. That's it. Well, how else can I help y'all? And yeah, so
Well, that's the biggest thing for me. I don't know if anybody else has any.
I could sit here and talk ISO for hours, and that's the good stuff about the business.
We love it too.
And helping people is another avenue too. But hitting that, Bibb County's got to be proud. Case closed, and have been proud for many years. And they didn't do so good, when it came to education, but they got it right. So, and nobody's perfect, but they sure make them look good over there. So, I would, if we were going to do anything right now, the 3 people that we've got on right now, add 3 hours to they work from 8 in the morning till 5 in the evening. Just add it to 7 or 8, either one. Anything right there. This is our most busiest time. We've got a right there. You got all your auto accidents. You've got everybody's traveling from point A to point B to get home.
Additional 3 hours per week per person?
Well,
Make it a
per
12
day.
hour.
Per day.
3 hours
12
per
hour.
day?
Yeah, 12 hours.
Okay.
And that's how you nibble it off. And then just a few hours is going to nibble a little bit more response time down.
Okay.
The simplest things mean a lot.
Okay.
And that's not just getting by. That will make a difference, and I'll show you how it'll make a difference.
Because that category is 0.67 out of 15. So,
What's that?
yeah, that category had 0.67 in terms of points out of 15.
Company personnel. That's a weird deal there. ISO says it takes three volunteers to make one firefighter. So each truck that let's see, you drive up in a fire truck, ISO is going to want to see 3 people there no matter what, and it documented well. It don't happen every day. So I'm trying to keep them going until we get our people settled in from work, eating, spend a minute with their kids, and then we go straight on to volunteer 100%.
I'm good.
I'm good. Thank you, Don. Thank you for the good explanation.
There's plenty more.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. We'll move on to number 4, road maintenance, Cheehaw Drive and Stallings Road. Jason?
Yes, sir. So these two things may or may not tie into the LME discussion. I think it's all road related, certainly. So Cheehaw Drive is a situation where I think Commissioner Kitchens have been contacted by a resident there. We took a look at it. There are a couple of low spots there in the road that tend to hold some water. The initial report back from Public Works was that it wasn't going to get a whole lot better until we added some asphalt to the entire road surface. They took a second look and found a couple areas that were, I guess, trouble spots, you might say, and got a quote to add some asphalt in those 2 spots. That quote's in your packet, and it came back, and it was above that bid threshold. Let's see, it's over on page 14. So it was $15,000. So that's one, there's any number of different things you could do. I mean, we could bid that out on its own. I don't anticipate you'll have a whole lot of success just based on the size of that through a formal bid process. The other thing you could do is do it as an ad alternate when we bid out LMIG. That's not an immediate fix, but there are ways you can waive the formal bid process. I don't know that any of them necessarily fit this particular situation, but that's kind of the situation there on Cheehaw Drive. Do you have anything to add or any?
No, if y'all
anything I
remember,
missed?
that's one of the ones that I brought pictures, September, October of last year. We had pretty good, and not during the flood, but both of those dips hold water in both lanes pretty good. Like, to the point that hydroplaning is a problem there if you hit it going down that hill. And I know Wendy's probably seen it with the buses and stuff. And that's so that was why I brought with the pictures and all. And we thought it would come in under the threshold, and we could just do it as a maintenance repair. Which is when I first started. One of the first things I started looking at our bid thresholds, because I know the repair they're talking about wouldn't have been $15,000 2 years ago. But that's part of our bid threshold problem. But this problem is, it's a dangerous situation whenever roads are flooding, which we can't control. But that's why I brought it to the board, the pictures to the board earlier. So.
The other one that I thought I might mention under this agenda item, and maybe there's an easier fix for this one, but Stallings Road, there's an area there. I think we talked about this maybe at the previous meeting. There's an area there where we had to do extensive patching, and it's 3/10 of a mile to, we did get an estimate to go back and overlay that 3/10, and which I think is something that we need to do in hindsight. Might should have done that when we did the patching. The total there is $26,410. We do have money left in the LMIG that we're still working on, about $90,000 that was allocated for patching. Arguably, this is related to that patching, and so if the board's interested in doing that overlay on Stallings, we could draw from that pool of money. Otherwise, we're kind of back in the same boat as on Cheehaw Drive.
Well, since we got 90,000, can we put Stallings and Cheehaw on there and finish those patch problems with that money and not have to reallocate new budget money? Or
So I think what I could do is, I've got to go back to GDOT and amend our previous LMIG application, which I think they'll let us do. It's strange to go back and amend, that whole process is kind of convoluted and unusual, but I think they would let us go back and amend that to add this overlay on Stallings and the Cheehaw Drive. Can't make any promises certainly, but
So what do we do if we list 10 roads and a dollar amount for patching? And we finish those 10 roads and there's money left over, will they then let you reallocate it based on amending the road list? Or do we just put patching, here's the proposed roads, and then if we've got money left over, we can add to the road list? Or is it 6 one way, half a dozen the
If
other?
you make a change off of your scope of work, deleting or adding to it, they want to do application.
Meaning road names.
Yeah, I mean, if you wanted to add these 2 roads, he's gonna take the roads he's got, list them, list the cost, add these 2 roads and resubmit them.
I've got to do a resubmittal anyway because when we originally submitted the application last time around, it had Overland Way on there. And so when it came time for the bid award, the board opted not to do that. So I've got to go through an amendment process anyway, or a new application. It's the same form. So the plan for the remaining 90,000 worth of patching was to go to Davis Road and do patching there. Now also, the board asked to get a quote for reclamation on Davis Road, and so I've got that to send around when we get to the LMIG item. So it is kind of all related. If y'all want to defer anything on this until we get to that LMIG item, just kind of discuss it all at one time or make a decision all at one time.
Okay.
But
I'm just all in favor of what gets it done the quickest.
And doing it right in the process.
Yeah.
I have questions on Stallings. Those patches are holding now, but we had base issues when that road was the reason for them. So if we do an overlay, whatever the base issue over here, and we don't do any reclamation work, we could lose our patch.
yeah.
So it's a question. It's patched now. Let's wait and see a year, see what it holds.
Yeah.
Maybe those are just some bad spots. I don't know.
Could, yeah.
And if it is, the road will still be in good shape in a year.
Mm.
I just hate to see us pave over them,
Yeah, yeah,
buckle somewhere else, because we got some base issues.
yeah.
So, if that is the case, how deep will patching on the LMIG go? Can you discover that you need reclamation once you're down there patching? Can it cover that for that section?
For that section of Stallings?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know if you could get somebody out there just to do reclamation on 3/10. Would anybody?
The reason
Do
why I
that or-
ask, because obviously I don't want to do 26,000 as a patch, and we know we got a base issue, and then come back and do it again.
With the way contractors are now, you better off stick it all in one project. Just so you make it enticing for somebody to show up.
Right.
So do we want to move it down with the LMIG under old business or make the decision now? I'll make up.
I think it's fine just to wait to.
Wait till LMIG, okay.
You sort it all out.
Well, if that's all right with y'all, we'll move number 4 down to old business number 2 and discuss it after the next 4. Do we need a vote on that?
You can table it and then we'd be bringing it back up in the same meeting.
Okay, then I do need a motion to table till
Motion to table.
end of the meeting.
Second.
All right, motion and second, and all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We'll table it to the later on in the meeting. All right, bid award basketball courts, Mr. Risner.
So this is one of those deals where it seems nothing can ever be simple. So we budgeted for and bid out the 2 additional basketball courts down at the Matty Wells Community Center. We got 6 bids. The apparent low bidder there was a company called Graham Construction, Greater Savannah. In reviewing their bid, there was a note in there that said Jones County to provide goals and installation of goals. Well, in the bid package, that was sort of an issue last time, or a challenge for us. And so this time we just rolled it all into the bid package. The contractor, we specified the same goals that we've got there now, and we specified that they would handle the painting as well. And so, in reviewing this low bidder's package, he had a note about us providing the goals. So, I suspected that his might be artificially low. I called him. He said, yeah, I remember striking through that, initialing it, and sorry, I didn't get a chance to call you about this earlier. This all just
I'm listening.
came together this afternoon. He said, I thought I struck through it and initialed it, but maybe that was on the second one. And then I remembered Leslie saying something about we got one that came in late. And so I went and found the one that came in late. We hadn't opened it. It was still in the envelope, but sure enough, it was from the same company. This was Graham Construction. So I don't know what was on the second one that he sent in. But on this, the 54,000 price, he did not have included the basketball goals and their installation. So I talked to the second low bidder, which was Mid-Georgia Hydro Seating at $63,800. He did have the basketball goals and the painting of the courts included in his price. So it appears to me that the low responsive bidder is Middle Georgia Hydro Seating at $63,800.
Yes, in the Jones County resident.
Yep.
He's
Local.
local too, I think.
Yep.
Yep, he is.
Motion to approve.
Okay, so did they already approve the other bid?
No,
Okay,
the board, you mean?
yes,
No,
No, we hadn't heard them.
okay.
no, we hadn't done anything
So we
with
need to
it.
rescind accepting the,
Oh, yeah, we can do
if we'd
that.
already done
No,
that, okay.
no.
You ready?
Ready.
Motion to approve Middle Georgia Hydro Seating for the low bidder for the installation of the basketball courts.
Second.
All right, motion to second, and all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes. Number 6, resolution approving redistricting map.
I think we'll have to come back to that one.
We're gonna need to,
Motion to
That was
table.
wishful thinking.
Motion to postpone
Motion to postpone. Oh, that's right. Until
Second.
all right,
until next meeting.
next meeting, okay.
motion is seconded to the next meeting. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Or otherwise specially.
Or
called.
otherwise special called meeting.
Next meeting.
Should we explain to them already?
Number 7, transit drug and alcohol policies. Jason Risner.
amen.
So periodically, GDOT asks us to update our drug and alcohol policies for our transit system. It only applies to that, and that doesn't affect the remainder of our employees. And so you have before you the revised policy there, and I would just recommend approving that so we can get that back to GDOT.
Motion to approve transit and drug alcohol policy.
Second.
All right, motion to second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. All right, old business. Rock quarry hearing. Ms. Brody.
I would first ask if the board needs some additional time to review the information presented from the quarry, because when you all are making, let me just say this. So the process would be, if the motion is denied, that's the final action, the quarry would wait 180 days and could reapply. If their motion is granted, then that would allow a new hearing new process of notification. It starts back over as if the application were being considered for the first time. For you all to deny or grant said motion, you would have to review the information that had been presented to you from the quarry and determine if there is new or additional information that was not available at the time of the original hearing or not presented due to excusable neglect. It's very important that you keep that in mind, because I know in the information that was presented from the quarry, there's sort of a lot of other reasons they're asking that you grant the request that don't have anything to do with, is it new and additional information, such as, you know, their contributions to the community, things of that nature that the board would have known. So whatever you decide, whether the motion is approved or denied, it needs to be based on, again, if contained in that information, there was new or additional information that you felt was not available at the time of the original hearing or not presented for some reason due to excusable neglect, that you feel the board should have or could have taken into consideration when making the original determination, taking the original vote. Y'all have any questions for me on sort of what you need to focus on in?
Yeah, I had one that during the discussion part of it, there were a couple of items that I think the opponents had. One of them was stream buffer. One of them was the buffer around the whole property. The other one was discharge into the stream or something like that. And there was, at the time, there was I think at the P&Z meeting, there was, we'll look into how do we mitigate that process to make the residents happier than, you know, what they were at that time. And so when it came to us, there were some concessions being made at that time, but there were some other ones that had, and I think in the latest report we got, it seems like they're saying they had met all the opposition complaints for the proposed new hearing. Is that considered new information if it's, I guess, basically part of the negotiation? So that's not.
No. That's a prime example of what you would consider when this comes back, when they reapply in 180 days.
Okay.
From if the motion's denied. Because that's them then saying, okay, well, here's what the concerns, here's why it was denied, here's how we're addressing it.
Right.
That's not new information that was not available at that time.
To forego the 180 days.
That's right.
Okay.
So as a matter of operation, we have no new information, correct?
I'm leaving that to you all.
You're the attorney. Did you discover or see anything new that we would have considered?
I was trying to remember, I don't have a copy of it with me,
There
but
was-
was there anything that they,
There was one small thing that, Commissioner Kitchens, I know you had asked me about previously, that could have been new, and it was about the zoning or comprehensive plan, that you did not realize at the time that we took the initial vote that the
I know what it
board,
was.
maybe it was a
Right.
previous board, had deviated from
approved,
that.
yeah, we had, a lot of our discussion was about the comprehensive plan and that we needed to stick with the comprehensive plan, and I thought that's what we had been doing. And so the new information for me was, it appears that we had done it several times, well, more than once, for almost identical applications based on land maps in the past. And I didn't know that. I mean, I don't know if that was information that was sent to us and I just missed it, but I was under the assumption that we were sticking to the comprehensive land map, land plan, and that was it. And then, so it was new for me. So I could go, I could motion on that being new information to me, but I don't know what, you guys, if you knew that or if that was, that was the only thing,
This was, a new one, or what we've had?
The comprehensive land plan that we were saying no to because the comprehensive land plan didn't show them allowing that as a variance, and it had been done for other rock quarries.
Oh, yeah.
Almost identical almost the same request in the
Right.
past.
One went and one didn't. That's the only thing that was my
Right,
question.
so we have not been consistent, and I was under the impression we had been consistent, and I didn't want to deviate from that if we had been consistent all along. But if we have not been consistent, why are we not being consistent? Why are we saying yes to one and no to one, and yes to one and no to one?
That's the only thing I really had was that, we had one, nothing, no problem, nothing at all went through. And then we got one that turned down for exactly the same thing. So that was the thing, I mean, I looked at it all, and I just could not understand why this one, no problem. I mean, nothing, no, and then this one, nothing happened.
So just out of curiosity, because I don't remember the previous rock quarry request, when was it, and what did we do?
When we were here,
It's 3 years ago, maybe
Yep.
2-3 years ago.
I don't,
never, nothing, we're done. Do it.
they increased the aggregate pool, something similar, I don't.
Same thing to put additional,
Exactly thing.
but not runoff, additional
Overburden.
overburden on the property. But
On
if
this-
they needed a variance on property they already own.
Same property location, wow.
So the board would need to consider, is that what Commissioner Kitchens is saying was new to him? He wasn't aware that,
The precedence was already set.
is that new information? Does this board, and you all would vote on it, do you feel that that was not available at the time of the original hearing? Or that that information was not presented due to excusable neglect?
And
If you all feel that that falls in that category, then you can grant the motion and this process starts over. It would be re-advertised, we'd hold another public hearing. It's as if the application had never been voted on to start with.
was there any citizen opposition to the previous rock quarry?
I don't think so.
That may have been the extenuating circumstance, I would assume.
Nothing, it went right, I remember, we went right through it.
Yeah, and if there was no citizen complaint, then I could see probably why we did that. But this one has significant citizen issues.
So I guess it boils down to if we feel like that is information we didn't know and grant the hearing now, or we wait 180 days and they have the hearing anyway. So it's not like we're not gonna have another hearing unless they choose not to apply in 180 days, which I feel like that's the case. I think it's,
What you wanna do?
Do you feel like if that information had been known at the time you took the original vote, that it would have made a difference? That it wasn't available at the time of the original vote?
Personally speaking, I think the citizen opposition has more weight for me than just the precedents being set.
and that's the part that, once they reapply, then it's more of a, did they meet the opposition of the residents, that they had concerns? Did they address those concerns to a level? And we know, I mean, let's be honest, we know that they're not gonna have everybody go, all right, I'm happy, please do it, you know, but if they have concerns, do they address the concerns? And
Gives another
Y'all would
opportunity.
discuss all of that, either when they reapply, if their motion's denied, or when there's a new motion, or a new hearing, if this motion is approved. So you're just voting on, is there something new or additional that we don't feel was available at the time of the original hearing? Or that was not presented due to excusable neglect?
I mean, I personally feel like there's new information, not, I think it was excusable neglect, because I mean, I don't know that the company that filed the application went back to check and see if another company had filed an application exactly like it and gotten approved. They were probably focused on their application. So to me, it's new information. Now, would it have made a difference? Or if anybody else feels like that was new to them, I don't know that, without a second, we wouldn't. I mean, we're still looking at 180 days, so.
What, do you want to make the motion and see if you get a second?
That sounds like a good plan. Based on my new knowledge of information of inconsistencies in the comprehensive plan, make a motion that we authorize the rehearing, or begin the process for a new hearing. Not hearing a second. Dies for a lack of second, and I guess we will wait the 180 days. Okay. All righty. Motion dies for a lack of second. So then we'll move on to FY 2022 LMIG, Jason, and we will add in the road maintenance item.
So I'm gonna send around a couple things here. I think one thing the board had asked about was some detail on the Pacer ratings on the roads on the existing list. And so that's some detail on that. And then the next one is the Davis Road reclamation cost.
We have that in our book?
Oh, no.
So,
Take good care of me.
If I'm just throwing stuff at you on.
That's good, I'm good. Go for it.
man, this is a whole lot of.
The low numbers are back. So this is the worst, but it hadn't been on the list previously. So we go ahead to the list, we just say a couple of numbers on the side.
Quick question, Jason. Lower number, better road, lower number, worse the road.
Lower number, worse the road.
Okay.
And so what they should follow that 1 through 10.
Ranking
and
on
then-
priority.
Yeah, and then
Gotcha.
Smith Road was just added not too long ago and didn't assign a priority to that. I think due to the fact that those others have been on the list for a while.
Might be time to assign it. It's on the numbers.
Yeah, just those is all.
But is the same person doing the rating?
Right now.
Because that would not be good if there's 3 or 4 people doing the rating.
And we have Pacer it stands for something, I'd have to look up what exactly it is, I can't remember. But, it's a rating system, and different states have their own sort of takes on that. The one we use, somebody recommended to me, there was one out of Wisconsin that was a pretty good system, pretty straightforward. You can boil it down to a page or two where it's not terribly complex, and so and it gives you a 1 to 10 score based on the condition of the road. And so that's what we've been using for several years now.
Pavement surfacing, evaluation and rating.
There we go.
And so, Overland was the one that we had on the list before, right?
Yeah, let's see if I can get to, so this is in your book on page 50. And this is not anything other than just kind of a conversation starter, but what I tried to do is go through and capture all the roads that were on the list currently, and, you know, develop kind of a 2-year plan to get those things done. Now you can do that, or you can do something completely different. The one deviation there from the list in terms of priority is Dye Road, which I had to move down into FY23 just due to the cost there.
When did we pave Morris Stevens Road? I know time flies, but it don't seem like it's been that long.
About 20 years.
Really?
Yeah.
How long?
Can't be 20 years.
No, it's about 15 years ago.
Can't
It was
be
meant in
15
'06.
Yeah.
It was took it from dirt to pavement in
Seems like it was
'06.
5 years ago.
It seems like it was, I felt like since I've been here,
Yeah,
There was
but
some-
It was that, it wasn't the asphalt, it was the other stuff.
Oh, that chip seal?
crushed chip seal.
seal.
So it was chip seal to begin with, and we've already fixed it with asphalt, now we're fixing to reclaim it again. Yeah, that's 3 times in 15 years, that's every 5 years. Feel like a lot of the roads ought to get a little love.
So by pacer testing, Smith Road is obvious the road that needs to be done, right?
So I'm not understanding, I guess I just need to look at the rating system a little better, because all the other ones have 2 numbers, and Morris Stevens has 3.
Screenshot it.
I'll
So-
send you a screenshot.
So basically, you know, a lot of times one road is not in the same condition over the entire length of it. And so, so sometimes what we'll do is it'll have kind of a split rating. I mean, you know, parts of it are 2, parts of it are not nearly as bad, and maybe a 5. And so that's what the different numbers there reflect. So Morris Stevens, as I recall, the ends are in very bad shape, and that's where the reclamation would be done.
It was 5 years ago before, in the two previous administrations, that there was some 1,000 feet of 49 end of Morris Stevens was repaved. There was an issue of
Site.
bidding whether it was bid out properly or not. That was a whole another item. But I'm just saying that was already, if it's already failing again, we have some.
I'd have to check and see. I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
it was 900 and something feet in that
So-
area because right 1,000 feet.
Both ends.
Okay.
Yeah, it
So,
was. but-
so we go from a 2, which is failing, to a 5, which is fair, on the same road. So I guess I'm asking is the part that's 20 feet on the ends of the road that we can redo, and the rest of it is fair? Or is the ends of the road fair and the other 2.6 miles is failing? Because that's a big number, and that's gonna wipe out a lot of LMIG on one road. And I'm sure the residents of that road would argue that it's the most traveled road in the county.
I do know that where there is a culvert in 2 different spots on that road is probably where it's rough at in some areas. The other parts of the road is probably, I would rate it as let me look at my pace.
4 or 5.
I would rate it as probably a 6.
And that's one I'm wondering if we, you know, that much money, we could patch the two culvert areas and the two ends and get by for another 4 or 5 years
Do it right.
and
Wouldn't you, I
and
mean,
pave it right.
Tiffany, you're out on those roads too.
It's the middle section, you have a lot of springs in that area. Maybe
Where it's
west,
gonna
and
settle.
when they've patched it before, even just school buses coming through that area, just that amount alone starts kicking that asphalt back up. It's been an ongoing problem in the middle of that road.
Jason, do we inspect the culverts before we pave the road? Just make sure we're not paving over a rusted out culvert that's gonna fail in a 12 to 24 months?
I'd have to confirm that. I don't know that
That
for
would be-
certain.
Yeah,
If you have a culvert that's been in place 15, 20, 25 years, tar coat or not, it's gonna be rusted out.
Mhm.
It's just waiting to have cut lines and be patched and replaced.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't wanna make a decision that's gonna spend all of our money on one road if 2/3 of it is decent. When that money, you know, that money could be spent on another road that only, you know, a portion of it, but that portion is in real bad shape. You know, cause we've got a lot of roads that, even if that went towards patching, you know, I mean, you look at stuff like Chee-Haw and Stallings, and we've got other roads that have, you know, bad holes in them that could be patched. A lot of patching with money that we may not need to do the whole road with.
So are we recommending that not allocating the entire $500,000 for resurfacing and partial reclamation, but addressing just those areas of concern?
I would think so, because we're still gonna get a pretty decent bid if we're doing them with the other roads too.
Without knowing distances, how do we allocate that dollar amount? Any idea?
No.
All
No
right.
is the short answer.
Very good.
Tim, any?
Just go right and measure them.
Okay.
I don't see any other way.
And I think I'm gonna go with Sam too. When we have the ratings on 4 or 5, can we, in parentheses, put the distances so we have an idea what that looks like?
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay.
Because 5, 6 is fair, and I would argue that we've probably got a lot of residents that, and maybe some roads that we're not grading that may not be fair, you know, and, I mean, I just don't know.
So, not know tonight, so we're gonna go measure, and then we're gonna look at some other 1s and 2 roads?
And the only thing is, we've got to have this in by February 1st. So we're going to have another called meeting anyway. I mean, it takes a while to put the application together, so the sooner the better.
Yeah.
But if we have to, we could cover this in a called meeting too.
So, we're only talking about going down to number 4 this year anyway, right? Based on dollar amounts? Is that what you said on?
You could get Morris Stevens, Overland, Walnut Ridge, Luke Smith, Whitehead, and Liberty Ridge this year.
So, right off the bat, I would say we need to move Smith Road up to, I mean, it's obviously in worse
Number
shape than
1.
any of them, based on the rating.
Right. I agree. And Davis is not far behind. It's not a 1-2, but it's, you know,
I mean, do we get alternate numbers on Morris Stevens and then go Overland, Walnut, and then go Smith Road, Overland, Walnut Ridge, Walnut Ridge, Luke Smith, Whitehead, and Liberty Ridge? Because the other ones we're talking about are the LMIGs that we're in now, that you're talking about rewriting for the patchworks for
That's right. For
Chee-Haw and
yeah.
that other one. That would be my request is readjust on Morris Stevens, remeasure that. I think everything else is still intact, right? Move Smith Road up, readjust Morris Stevens, and then go as far as the money goes, moving Dye down.
You talking about, what you gonna take off?
Yeah, we were gonna move it to 23 anyway. It's, 'cause it's a 4-5, and that is, 5's fair.
That'd probably be good. If, are y'all good with us going ahead and submitting the application based on that, or do you want us to bring back to you specific links on Morris Stevens of what we're going to do and how far before we submit it?
I think you can tell based off the rating if it get us to a 4 or 5 off the pipes, center of the road there. Get us whatever it takes to get that, and then whatever savings there is, move down the line to the next project.
Okay. If y'all are good with that, then y'all could make a motion to submit however you want to word that for our FY22 LMIG application.
I make a motion that we submit the FY22 LMIG construction list with the following changes. Morris Stevens, we will adjust that only to the number 2 sections to be resurfaced or reclamation. Moving Smith Road up within the first section, and then running out the remainder of the funds as far as they'll go on the projects based on the PACER rating we have there.
Second.
Yeah, so I was gonna ask Davis Road, because we asked for this for a reason, but we're not considering this.
Is there a PACE? I saw this, but I didn't see a PACER rating on it.
And I was gonna ask about the pace rating, because somebody brought Davis Road up.
Right, I have.
Yeah,
Right.
and it's a heavily traveled road.
I don't have
And
the
there's
score
new
with me.
construction going in on there too.
They might have dropped it by my office while I was gone this afternoon, but I
That's-
don't know that.
That's going to wipe out an LMIG for 1 year at 738,000 plus.
738, you need to add about 50 or 60 to that.
So you-
738 is low.
Just under 800 then.
And the reason, obviously somebody brought this up for a reason. I remember there being discussion
Oh,
about it.
it's
So is
in bad
Davis Road
shape.
worse than,
Is it where we need to look at certain areas on that road that needs to be? I mean, 'cause
It could have some patchwork done.
We keep talking Smith Road, and I keep telling you, there's only a few houses on that whole roadway, and $240,000 for that many houses on that roadway. We got dirt roads that are in much worse shape than Smith Road is. They've got the luxury to turn to go the other way if they don't want to have to go through the bad part of it. They can go out and come out the other way, and it might be a half a mile difference for them. So we keep harping on Smith Road, and most of that damage was done because of tractor trailers with logging trucks that were on there already in a bad area. And then we got other roads that are in just as bad shape that aren't on this list either. I don't know. Yes, I'm frustrated on that one, yes.
It is frustrating. And Davis could have some patchwork done. It would buy you a few years, but eventually you're going to have to do reclamation work there. I
but
think-
you can buy some.
Buy some time.
Right.
So I know we got a motion and a second, so
In my book, yes.
that's what?
is Davis more priority than Smith?
Well, the
Yes.
problem with that is to do Davis, you know,
You're gonna wipe out everything.
everything.
But the question now is what's most important, doing the road that needs to be done or doing some 4 or 5 roads that may not need it as bad, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, limited resources, but doing what's right.
That's where resources, maybe a T-splosh down the road or something to help our paving and road budgets. It would greatly help out Public Works.
Jason, did you say you have a pacer rating on Davis?
It may have been left at my office while we were down in Macon, but I don't know for sure.
What's y'all's thought? Notice I ain't sitting over like tonight.
So is this one we need to wait until the called meeting, until we get the numbers on this? And I guess we're still gonna have to, if we do Davis Road, it's gonna have to be a patch, the worst areas to get us. I don't think there's any way unless we're planning on revamping this whole list and just putting one road on it.
And that would be tough, and I don't think that would be best.
But we could do that in lieu, we've got several on here, from Luke Smith, Whitehead, and Liberty Ridge. They're all 5s and 6s, which according to the rating is fair. You know, how can we justify, you know?
I mean, Whitehead Road, Liberty Ridge, they're both cul-de-sac dead-end roads. They're not through traffic. They're only the people that live on those roadways that travel on those roadways. The buses don't even go up in there.
Bethune, Ruby Drive are more high traffic areas than those.
Right.
And they're all 5, 6s. So
And I
that's-
mean, I understand to those people that are taxpayers that live on that property, on those roads, I understand. I live on a dirt road. There's very few services that I want provided, and that is my dirt road to not be a washboard and not have shrubbery sticking off the side of the roadway. And so I get that those people that live on these roads that want the roads resurfaced, but we've still got dirt roads that have been on a dirt road list for how long and not been paved? So when do we start paving those dirt roads that have been promised to be paved instead of constantly going back and resurfacing?
Well, in all fairness, Commissioner Vaughn, we don't have any on our dirt road paving that is ready to pave today. Is that correct? So that's part of the problem, and it's a two-part problem. We don't have the funding for it, but we don't really focus the funding on it because nobody will give acquisition or,
For the land.
or the land or,
It's not shovel ready.
funding is the last segment of that. We hadn't got down to 3 and 4, much less 6 and 7.
Yeah, I just don't want to keep being surprised by new roads because I don't know all these roads. I don't ride them. I don't drive on them. I'd love to have a comprehensive roads list, right? Not just the one that we've made up or citizens say, hey, I need my road. But actual roads, like if Smith Road is really bad and Davis is really bad, fix the ones that are bad. And obviously fix the ones that have high traffic. Because I know, wherever our buses travel and our cars travel towards our schools are the big issues. For me.
And I mean, roads is our biggest money, that and water. And they're the two most important things for our county is roads and water.
Where are we, Jason? I know it's off subject and we got a motion in a second, but I guess under discussion, where are we on the pacer rating for all our roads?
So what I've talked with Public Works about is basically dividing the county up into 4 and rating a quarter of the roads each year. So every 4th year, a road would get a new rating. I tend to think that would be enough. I guess it's certainly possible for a road to drastically change sooner than that, but that's kind of what we've come up with as an approach.
But I mean,
going forward.
get us a beginning list. How long
Right.
will it take to get all the roads? Because I don't want the last quarter of the roads to be graded 4 years from now and go, oh, well, hell, it should have been done 5 years ago. It's a 1 and we've done 5, 6s.
And I mean, I do
4
know
years.
that Smith Road will be one of those that will be that
one
one
to
on there if something isn't done, and I get that.
I mean, we've only got one part-time guy that kind of.
Is that
does
a
it, and so-
one-time contract that we need to look at?
Yeah, I mean,
and do it?
I think if you wanted to get it done quickly, that's probably the way to do it.
My opinion is we need to put our best money to the biggest need, but,
In part of the process, I would like to see a year paved. When was the last time it was paved? And possibly when the time before that, because we do have some roads that were built very well. You know, the one going to the sheriff's office was paved somewhere prior to 98. There's never been a patch on it. Something was done right there. We need to look at the process of that road, and then look at the process that was used on some other roads and say, and that's a heavily traveled road, fuel trucks, garbage trucks, food trucks, and sheriff's cars and residents on that road also. And that was done in-house, I believe, by the county. Or it was done by a county contractor possibly. You know, but I'm just saying, looking at the process of how that road was done versus some maybe newer roads, without naming them,
but we gotta get these roads in the next few days, so we gotta make
Right,
a
that's a
decision
long-
tonight on these, don't we?
Ms. Vaughn, what you think?
We've already got a motion and a second, don't we? Right, but y'all haven't voted,
We
so
haven't
if y'all
voted.
aren't comfortable with the motion now, y'all just vote it down.
You wanna
I'm gonna
ask?
call the motion.
Yeah, what would be the alternative? Are we talking taking Smith Road off of it and doing what? Putting a 5-6 on there?
Will you?
If we see, this is a question, if we see that Morris Road doesn't need that total 5,600, 506, yeah, that number.
Well, the motion is it ain't getting that anyway.
It's only partial, because I just even,
the 2 rating.
I just texted somebody that lives on the road, and they definitely agree, both ends of the roads where it was just repaired 5 or 6 years ago is where the road is messed up at again.
It was in 16.
So are we gonna get somebody in there that's competent to complete the job and do it to our satisfaction, to where 5 years from now, we're not spending that same amount of money in there?
Yeah, I mean, I think with the reclamation process, you should get, you know, a road bed that you shouldn't have issues with for a long, long time. I mean, Tim's probably got more experience with that than I do, but
Yeah, let's make sure
Delivered the
that
repairs.
person
That's where I
that
was kind of
made,
going at.
Yeah.
The date it was last paved, and if you have a contractor that did a road 5-6 years ago and it's failed, what
yeah,
went
is
wrong?
it the same person
Well,
that did
Doesn't
Stallings
matter.
Road?
You get what you
I-
pay
know,
for.
if there is, there's gotta be a way that we see that we're not getting our money's worth when we're paving these roads. So,
I mean,
Remember that contractor's doing what he's told.
I was gonna say, if we don't specify
Exactly.
what a decent road, then you can't hold him to it.
So if 2 foot below it, there's mush or stumps, he didn't do anything with that. He's just covering over it going on.
Right.
We'll call the truck, whatever you wanna do.
there's a motion and a second,
Yeah.
y'all vote it down. But we've got to get it in so that we get the money that we
We'll have
can.
a call meeting before the 1st of February and handle it then and come up with, Jason's got some serious homework to do.
maybe not January 31st.
Yeah.
Yes.
But, you know,
No,
No, that's the day before, he has to have it anyway.
All right, is that what we're doing, waiting to get more information on these roads before we,
that's up to y'all.
But you got a motion
yep,
on the table, so you've got to call it.
okay. Or I can rescind my motion, right?
I'll call
Just
for the
take a-
question.
take a-
All right, I'll call for the question. Now, all in favor, say aye. All opposed?
Opposed.
All right, motion,
Dies.
Yes.
that fine quality motion died.
Sorry, Sam.
I mean, I worded it just right, too.
Let's do it before everybody starts.
All right, so the next motion is to table this or postpone this until the next meeting and ask the county administrator to get us more information on the specifications and cost for Morris Stevens Road and, cost and specifications for, partial reclamation to Davis Road.
What he said, so moved.
Second.
All right, motion is second.
I'm gonna say it if you don't hurry up.
You had made the motion.
Yeah.
Then he got a second.
There was a second.
All
David
five.
second.
Oh, and I thirded it.
All right, we all getting
All right,
confused
so all
here.
in favor?
It's been
All
a
in
long
favor?
day today.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Good.
Then you need to, make a motion, remember you tabled Chi Hall Drive and Stallings Road to postpone it until,
Yes, and, all right, so we also, I make a motion that we, get the numbers for Chi Hall and, what was the other one? Stallings.
Second.
Yes, to add to this year's LMIG and rework the application.
Second.
All in favor?
I'll get it. Get
Nays.
through it. Shannon's fitting to slap me if I don't hurry and get y'all through.
All right.
All right, we gotta get back and find an agenda. That's around here. All right, so we have nothing else on the agenda. Department heads.
Very quickly.
Don, you've had your time.
Shannon's gonna get you,
keep it
John.
short.
1 minute, I promise, 1 minute.
Time
Okay.
The grant that I asked for a couple months ago from Tri-County,
Yes.
I received. They gave us $5,000. It won't get us exactly what we need, but we will make it work. And I appreciate that. We just started a hybrid class with 11 new students. So we've got 11 students in the hopper, new firefighters. QPR class, you guys, if you haven't had it yet, you know how passionate I am about suicide prevention.
Yeah.
A week from this Thursday, the city firefighters and the county firefighters will be putting on this class. Miss, I call her still Miss Duke. Yeah, Joy Carr. She's going to be teaching this, and you guys are invited too. And you can receive this certification. It will be a week from this Thursday, and I cannot believe it's the 27th already. And sir, if you don't fire me
What?
for saying this,
Go for it.
I just want to say I've been looking at your ugly face for all of my life, and this is a sight for sore eyes because I wasn't expecting to see you.
The man up there is the reason I'm here. There's no
I got
other
you.
way but that man right there.
I got you.
Everybody's, that came and, I can't say all this, but you know what I'm saying.
You don't, yes,
All the
sir.
people who call, I cannot tell you the number of people.
Yes, sir.
prayer text chains going.
And still doing it, yes, sir.
So please don't fire me.
As long as you don't have to kiss you again.
Anybody else? Jim, you got anything? Miss Tiffany?
Real quick, I promise. About a year or so ago, I got with the chairman. Georgia Forestry Commission wanted to start a online database system for all the timber harvesting. That has now gone live. The video is now out.
Really?
Starring yours truly. I sent you the message in it, yeah. They actually did the video, right here in Jones County at a timber site here. And had the chairman, had Shepherd Brothers come out, so it was really good.
And I tell you, it took us how long? How many times?
Yeah, I had to come back and tell you had to retake a couple of times.
I'm through. Oh no, you gotta do it again.
He tried to drive off.
How many times can you say the same thing over and over and
Till you
over?
get it right.
Huh?
Till you get it right.
Yep. So, we were one of the 7 counties that were the test pilot for the state of Georgia, so it has now gone live.
It's gonna be great.
All right. Jason, you got anything? Shannon? No. Okay. Citizen comments? Having none. All right. Commissioners' comments? Commissioner Vaughn, ladies first.
Ladies first.
Y'all,
That's right.
it was wonderful to walk in and see your face. Did not expect
Thank
that
you. You don't know
tonight.
I don't mind telling you, I cried from listening to my meeting. And me and that doctor went around and around. Let me tell you something.
Well,
He
we
said,
knew
"You're-"
that you wanted to be here.
Well, the doctor kept telling me, you're in intensive care. So, I said, you do know, you just can't. I don't care. And it happened, sir.
You were in the hole.
Huh? I said, you do know, you just did, don't you? Yeah, I know, I know my brain done, yeah, but no excuse. But thank y'all, I promise you.
And the only other thing I've got to say is, go dogs.
That's right. Commissioner Martin.
Good to see you back.
Yes.
You know, the prayers went out and the words of advice, so, sir, lighten the load. You got a whole bunch of people that can help you.
We'll start working on it.
Amen.
We're gonna get it.
Okay. That's all I got.
I echo what everybody else said. It's good to see the chairman back, and he's, got a little road ahead of him, but he'll get there.
Yeah.
One day at a time.
It's gonna get there.
Yep, you'll get there. Good as new,
We won't have
or
to sit
better.
and wait for, 2 hours to do it. I'm just making a joke.
All righty.
Well, let me tell y'all what I got to talk about.
1 minute, sir.
Yeah, he does have, he has good support. I'm gonna say this because he probably won't, and they probably mad if I said it, but his wife and his daughters have kept us updated, kept us informed, and kept him in the right place
Yeah.
for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
He, they took his phone away from him. When he told me in intensive care, I'll be there Tuesday night, I heard Renee in the background say, "No, you won't." It was just that simple. So he's in good hands.
I told you that. And my wife said, yeah, I see.
Yeah, so he's definitely in good hands, and it's good to see you back, brother.
That feels great. Thank y'all.
Any other comments? If not, we have executive session for
Real quick.
real estate.
Real quick.
I make a motion to go into executive session.
Or did you have something to say?
No, I said no, real quick.
Real quick on real estate.
Yeah.
All right.
Second.
Any second? All right. All in favor, aye. We're in
Thank
executive
y'all.
session.